we brought back the free plan. When you give out stuff for free, people just show up.
And
And
they show up
then,
multiple times too. It's like the candy bar problem
yeah.
when it's like, hey, kid, please take only one candy bar. And it's like, yeah, cool. I have like 8 GitHub accounts that I've like added here.
I'm here with Jake Cooper, founder of Railway. Jake, welcome. Super glad for you to be here.
I'm glad to
Um,
be here as well.
yeah, this is not really like a railway podcast. It's more of like we launch something cool. We believe it'll be fun to talk about, especially because there's like a lot of history behind this new thing. And it's we brought back the free plan. So, Jake, why don't you kind of walk us through the early beginnings? I think there was a free plan at some point. Then we didn't have a free plan, and then we decided to have a free plan again.
Yeah, so in the early days, we had actually, even before we had a free plan, we had what's called the unlimited $20 plan, which was if you give us $20 a month, you can just use unlimited compute. And that was completely bananas, right? And so we've slowly kind of iterated on our pricing over time. And then, as we had our free plan, our graph was just like parabolic. We were like adding so many new users, like customer, like the platform was breaking in various different ways, et cetera, right? And we just kind of got to this inflection point, right? It's like, there's a classic kind of wisdom in like trades, which is like what happens when you as a tradesperson are kind of overbooked, right? You double your prices, you raise things that kind of like mitigates the amount of inflow because some people will bail, some people will whatever, right? So we did this basically. We removed that free plan, and we found a really cool thing, which was like we didn't necessarily have full on product market fit. It kind of like flattened the graph, so it would have like I think like some amount of users showing up, like new ones every month, and that number wasn't growing, but it also wasn't like falling or whatever, right? And we dug into why, right? Because we had a little bit more space because we weren't dealing with like tens of thousands of new users and then like hundreds per month joining. And we figured out a couple of things, which was, our reliability could definitely be significantly better. Our margins obviously were not super great on the free plan because we were built on top of Google Cloud. And then our support system was like severely lacking. So we rebuilt all of those things. And then we moved to, what we call like actual product market fit, which is like all of our signups were paid and the graph was like ripping, and we were able to kind of like keep up with demand, right? And so now we see a universe in which we can actually get the original kind of vision for Railway, which is like trivially easy compute, as cheap as possible, a utility company for the modern web. And so we're moving to kind of put back that plan so that people can activate without putting in a credit card and just get to that aha moment like even faster.
When you essentially rebuilt the platform, and then you're like, okay, we got to hit pause. Can't just give out stuff for free, because guess what, when you give out stuff for free, people just show up, but they don't necessarily like the product, they don't necessarily use it,
And
and
then they show up
then
multiple times too. It's like the candy bar problem
yeah.
when it's like, hey, kid, please take only one candy bar. And it's like, yeah, cool. I have like 8 GitHub accounts that I've like added here. And we're like, like, don't do that, But people can't help themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And then now we're like, okay, we now have a free plan. I guess the first question is, what's the reasoning behind that?
So the reasoning is that we want to make it trivially easy for people to build software, right? And putting in a credit card actually is like a barrier to entry. So we want to make it really, really just as easy as possible for you to go and get started. And we now have kind of rebuilt that kind of underlying system that we were talking about that allows us to offer really, really stellar support to our paid tier customers. We have really, really stellar margins because we've moved everything to our own racks and metal infrastructure. And we have that higher order reliability because we've rebuilt a bunch of those systems to be durable, fault tolerant, et cetera, at every layer, right? Like double and triple redundancy. So now we're in a point where we can actually go in and deliver on that vision that we had in the like really, really early days, which is just hit a button, get something up immediately, right?
That makes a lot of sense. So what does the free plan actually include?
Yeah, so it's $1 of free compute per month. You get an initial trial. Everybody on the platform gets an initial trial and has forever, which is $5. And then if you want to move to the free plan, it's $1 of what we call like serverless compute. So if your app is receiving requests, it will serve them. You only pay for usage, which is the whole thing on Railway. You're only paying for time in which you are actively using CPU or memory or anything else like that, not for what you provisioned. And it'll just spin up or spin down as kind of those requests go through. So it's a kind of like serverless free plan, if you want to call it that.
That makes sense. So it's not like you can actually get something up and running, it can work, and it's like you can have like a tiny app running, and it will be up when there's actual usage. And if you want then you can upgrade to the hobby plan. I guess it's so that it's like maybe the way you think about it is like you have a project, you care about this project, so you want more resources, right? And then when you're like, okay, I'm serious about this thing, then you kind of upgrade to pro, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So the free plan is great for like hosting small applications, like hackathon stuff, like getting your portfolio applications running, a few databases, et cetera, random things like that. $1 might not seem like a lot, but when you're only billing for like active compute or active memory, it goes a really, really long way, right? You'll probably get more out of that $1 free than you would out of kind of like a DigitalOcean, like $5 VPS or anything else like that. And then when you're kind of ready, you can do that kind of $5 hobby plan, which means you'll get pretty much all of the things that you get from a managed a VPS, but all of the kind of managed kind of bells, whistles, etc., automated CI/CD, image updates, really, really easy to use dashboard, lifecycle management, observability, all of those other things like that. So
Yeah, it's always funny when you see people online is like, what's the difference? Like, I could get like this on like a 5 WS, and then we're like, well, there's just so much more you're getting. And it's like there's so little thing, like if you do the VPS route, there's just so much work that you have to do yourself, where on Railway it just works.
And I think people like they like it's a really fun thing for you to go and do. Like I would encourage people to like go in and mess with this, right? Like understand how you can set up Nginx and port forwarding and firewall rules and dependency like updates and all of those other things, right? But once you've managed a box for a long enough time, you'll pay a significant amount of money to not have to go in and manage those boxes, because you'll just at some point you're going to get pwned by a CVE of somebody like rolling out a change if you have auto updates like set up and it's just consuming nightlies, or disabling those things, and at some point there's a CVE and somebody makes like a hole punch straight through your metadata dashboard and says, all right, give me all your credentials, and it's game over on that, right? So after a little while, I did it for years. It was fun, et cetera. But I would definitely not do it again, right? And those are kind of all the problems that we are aiming to solve with Railway.
One thing we actually kind of wanted to mention is you could technically use Railway for free because we have set up the right mechanisms that kind of enable you to do that. So I know them. Jake, do you kind of want to walk us through of the different kind of like initiatives that we have where we can actually pay our users?
Yeah, so the free plan is really, really nice because it allows people to stay within the community, right? Like previously what we do is say like, hey, listen, you've used your trial, give us $5 every month or like pound sand, right? And that's not a great user experience, et cetera. It does kind of like, really bifurcate in terms of like, oh, if you want to give us that $5 and you're really, really invested, et cetera. But one thing that we ask ourselves is like, what about the time billionaires? The people who have like a ton of time, but they don't necessarily have like access to, capital or credit, or even like maybe a credit card or whatever, right? Like kids who are hacking around in like elementary or high school or anything else like that. And they just want to build cool things, right? And so it's actually really, really neat. We've built this over time, which is the kind of template ecosystem. So people get creator kickbacks when you create templates. So you can go and, create a template for like N8N or PostHog or Redis or all of these other things, right? We have thousands of these templates that the users have gone and maintained, right? And we have many people who will go onto the free plan or the hobby plan, et cetera, and make more, sometimes significantly more than the cost of entry on the platform, right? And so they're contributing to the community and they're getting all of the kind of kickback from the like $25 of the usage that people are using from their templates. They're getting, we've got template bounties in the community when people like really want new templates and stuff like that, right? And ultimately that means that we have kind of created there's like $1 million+ like I think about $2 million worth of GMV right now, which is like gross market, I think it's gross market value. I always forget the acronym, but like basically like flowing through that system. We have creators on the platform making like 6 figures, right? Of just like creator kickback, right? Which is completely nuts, right? And it's really just like early days. We have some really, really cool stuff like launching next month. That you should definitely keep an eye on the changelog for. Sarah would kill me if I spoiled it. But there's some really, really cool stuff going on with the template economy, I will say about that. So that's super neat. And I think it's a thing that people really under discuss about the platform, which is you can just build on it, you can get paid.
So the thing is, templates, I guess for those who are unfamiliar, I can build an app, could be a multi-service app, maybe does something with AI, however it is that work. And then I'm like, hey, here's all the necessary pieces. You have the code, you have the necessary infrastructure, everything is already wired in. You can just one click and then maybe put in a bunch of variables and you have like the complete thing cloned. And the way we have it set up is if you create the template and someone else deploys the same template and then they use it and they give us money, you get like 25% of that money. So like it's, I don't know. This is one thing that I've found fascinating is like we built a reward system that is like it's a win-win situation. We want more people deploying on the platform, but also if you know, let's say, how to build something or you have something that you've already built before, you kind of have no reason not to just have it here. Because again, like you could just set it and forget it. And then you can have, like when you actually get paid, you can get paid in terms of railway credits. I call them like railway bucks, but then you can actually withdraw these to real money. It's like real bucks, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's super cool, right? Like it's we've made it easier and easier to just build a template over time. At this point now, like if you just have a compose file that you're working with like locally, you can just drag and drop it into like railway.com/compose and it'll just auto import it, right? You can also just start spewing Docker images or GitHub repositories, et cetera. It'll automatically kind of create those. And it will go and add also your affiliate link too, right? Because when you refer new signups to Railway, you get money when they pay their first bill, right? So there's a lot of different kind of like community aspects in there then in which we can kind of like bolster and like help in that kind of like win-win situation like you talked about.
That's, I think, everything for this new announcement. TLDR, there's a free plan. You can get started for free, try the platform, and then once, the 30-day trial ends, you can just keep deploying stuff and you'll have stuff running.
Yep, that's the news. So yeah, that's what we've got this week, and like I said, into the next weeks we'll keep launching stuff. We'll keep talking about it, and let us know how things are going on the other side here. If you go and use the platform and you have feedback, we always want to go in and hear it. So let us know. We're available on X. We're available on LinkedIn. We're available on email. We're available if you send us a carrier pigeon and you somehow manage to find either my address or Mahmoud's address. We will listen to your feedback.